Hello, everybody. My name is Naoki. I'm with Ray and Jeffrey Long, and this is the Grilled Sports Podcast, affiliated with Glitch Energy. Use code GRILLED for 10% off your next order of Glitch. How are we doing, fellas?
You know how I'm doing.
I know how you're doing, and I know that Jeff isn't really as happy. I know you now hate Texas more.
Actually, I don't really mind them, but I'll talk about it more when we get to that. I'll save that for the segment.
I'll say I'm all right because we'll probably get into it, but March Madness, some results came in, and we'll see how long they go.
So for just a little recap from last time, we talked about, of course, we did a little rant. I did my little rant on the Canucks. And some people from Vancouver were like, I 100% agree with this man. Because, we both, I did kind of go back and notice that I did interrupt you a few times. My bad, but I just had to rant about it.
It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
And we also touched on NASCAR, which we can touch on Phoenix and the whole Hendrick Motorsports situation if we want to. And I touched on the Bahrain Grand Prix. Great season opener, by the way. And there was a couple of topics we also talked about, like NBA, NHL. We covered as much as we could at the time. But today, it's all about three major things. We're going to talk about what's going on in the NHL right now, including a certain someone's suspension. We're going to do a little preview on the Saudi GP and talk about how stupid this year's free agency is for the NFL. And I know Ray has plenty to say about the suspension.
Yes, I do. Should we start with that, or do we want to start with something else?
Let's go ahead.
It's a pretty big topic.
Get it out of the way.
I'm going to watch this one.
So this is going to be just a complete grilling of NHL fans and how they just completely want to, just hate on Binnington for absolutely nothing. Like, I get the guy's a pest. He does things that are dirty. Yes, absolutely. Ron Hextall did the same thing. Mm-hmm. Ron Hextall was the same kind of player and everything. And then people are like, oh, well, Binnington's stats, he's not a good player, everything like that. I've looked at this man's stats, and he has constantly put up well over 900s in the regular season. In the 2018-19, when he played half a season, 927. 2019-20, he put up a 912. 2021, he put up a 910.
Yeah, but honestly, in that 2019-2020 season, Jake Allen was kind of outshining him a lot. Jake Allen did perform a little better, but once he went to Montreal, we instantly started hating him.
But which again, the 2019-20 season was awful for the fact of the COVID shutdown that happened. The Blues were on an absolute roll. Binnington and Allen were unstoppable in net. And just you had an unstoppable team. Vince Dunn, Jay Bouwmeester, Vladdy Tarasenko, Robert Bertuzzi, just a stacked roster overall. A lot retained from the year before when we won the Cup. We had a shot to go back and win the Cup. The only real major player we had lost in that entire lineup was Pat Maroon. Pat Maroon was one of the biggest ones we lost in that lineup. And the COVID shutdown happens, and then we lost all of our momentum. And I think we lost to Vancouver in the first round or whatever after, like, there was the weird wild card round they did, whatever. And then it's like, and then you look at this defense that sits in front of Binnington, it has progressively gotten worse over time. We've signed Colton Parayko, a young defenseman who's currently at the age of 29, to a ridiculous contract, and he is currently sitting at a negative 20.
I wouldn't call Parayko young. I would not call that man young.
When we signed him to that contract, he was about 25. He was around there. He was young when we signed him to that contract.
He's experienced, but I feel like he's like the Blues JT Miller. He's good at the time, but once you realize you've already signed the contract and he's already deteriorating as a player, it's kind of too late.
Absolutely. But I mean, just this whole defense is just, good God. Like, people go, oh, Binnington can't make saves. You try and 10 with this defense. It's atrocious. The only person that I've seen with a positive is Nico Mikkola with a positive 2. Callie Rosen with 14, but those
How
guys
many
hardly ever
games
play.
played do those guys?
Yes.
Exactly. I was about to say, how many games played do they have, though? That's my
Nick
thing.
Leddy has a -6. That's the highest out of every starting defenseman.
Oh my goodness. And he just picked up Letty too.
Yeah, we picked up Leddy last year. So a veteran being on presence on the defense, he's been doing a lot better than a lot of the defenses on his team. I think if we give Torrey Krug a chance, he might come back and have a better season, but he's sitting at a -34 right now. Justin Falk's sitting at a -16. And then we have this whole ordeal recently where if I here, let's do this. Should share this. Yep, here we go.
I have to add it.
And so I've got to slow down. Now watch this. If it will.
Hold on. Let me remove this real quick. Boom. All right, now we can see it.
All right. Shot off his glove, goes in. He loses it. Hartman clips him. Not intentionally. But hey, if you're Hartman, at least apologize.
Yeah,
Turn around and at least apologize for clipping into Binnington. And here's the other thing. Binnington all season long has been standing on his head trying to make as many saves as possible. You want to know what he's at this year? He's at an 892. That's just below 900. He's just below 900 basically. And his defense isn't doing anything. Nobody stands up for him. Like Falks just stands there. He starts to skate away. So Binnington decides, I've got to do everything. And he goes in and starts swinging. Do you blame him if he has to stand up for himself?
If I got clipped like that, I'd make sure I left damage instead of having to get held back by refs.
Absolutely. And it's like, oh, well, he's a goaltender. He's got all this protective padding. I don't care. We had this mindset for a few years now in the NHL where goaltenders just seem to be defenseless people and they can't stand up for themselves. Good God, you look at 90s hockey, Gene and Nedley, they go at each other. The goaltenders didn't care. And people go like, oh, well, the goaltenders should be open. Goaltenders are open. Like, you can, if they go behind the net, you can go for them behind the net for the most part. You can't just completely trip them up or whatever.
Don't remind me about that Aaron Dell hit on Drake Batherson, dude. Don't remind me of that one.
Like, this guy, Binnington has constantly been abused in net for so many years now. Like Nazem Kadri last year in the playoffs, the guy, we were going on a deep run and we were doing so good. Binnington was it. He was back to his playoff form that we had in 2019. And then he gets taken out by Nazem Kadri. Kadri didn't even issue an apology from what I remember. It's like, dude, at least issue the apology and just say like, hey, my bad. I shouldn't have did that. I didn't mean to, but still, I feel bad that I took the guy out. But no, he didn't. So that's why he got a water bottle thrown at him. Like,
he's lucky it was a water bottle.
Yes, I'm sorry, but Binnington is not in the wrong here. People treat him like he's defenseless. And you have to realize he's done this in the minors. He's a fighting guy. He's a guy that'll stand up for his team. And then he gets suspended for this, of course. But then the other thing happened. We got robbed of a goalie fight. Marc-Andre Fleury, the veteran goaltender of the NHL. He's been on a lot of teams. I mean, but just he wanted to go. Binnington wanted to go. The lineman didn't. This has been the biggest joke of the NHL in recent years, is that we have not allowed for what has made hockey so much different from other sports. This is what made hockey big as much as it was in the 90s, was the fighting. The 90s were ridiculous with fighting. And yes, it did get out of hands and everything. But it's still like,
it brought people to the sport.
It did. And now player safety is so inconsistent. It's suspensions and fines are just so inconsistent. Penalties and everything are so inconsistent. The officials aren't consistent. It's just been so atrocious in the past few years. And then ESPN knows nothing of the sport. Don't get me started on that whole ordeal. It's just
we'll touch on it
anymore.
Don't worry, we'll touch on it.
It's a joke anymore.
For those who don't know what Ray's talking about, on ESPN's First Take, very popular, watched by most of America watches First Take. And Stephen A. Smith, and I believe her name was Molly or something, when the question was asked by Molly, asked the question, Which New York team do you think wins a championship first? Smacked on desk, Rangers was said. Stephen A. Smith just said, "Oh Lord," as if he was like, "Oh my, why them?" And then Molly has the audacity. Stephen A. Smith already apologized, so I'm over that. But Molly hasn't apologized. She said that the Rangers do not count. They don't count, which is slandering our sport.
Count as what?
They just don't count. That's what she said. They don't count. They don't count. That's all they said.
And Stephen A. Smith goes, the only thing I know about hockey is the puck is black.
Puck is black. That's all he said. And that he loves Gary Bettman. Oh, yeah, you love the guy that basically everyone in the league and the fans hate.
A guy that says he's going to grow the sport of hockey, but won't give up on the Arizona project that has failed due to inconsistent ownership.
Exactly. And then you have us, like the NHL gets bought out by ESPN, right? We have out of region games being able to be watched through ESPN, but you don't promote the sport because for some reason, just because hockey's not as big as the NBA, NFL, and MLB, doesn't mean you need to slander the name in front of millions of people, not promote the sport, and just completely slander hockey in general. We have amazing players. We have amazing highlights. We have people who work their ass off just to get to the league. And that's just slandering those people's dedication and hard work just to get there and be viewed by millions of people.
And the worst part about it is an original six team, a team that has been with the league for years. And honestly, the only New York team that really has a shot of winning a championship at this point, because the rest of them have sucked.
The only one in the tri-state area, there's two teams in the tri-state area that have even a chance at the cup. The Rangers and the Devils. The Islanders have no chance. I believe the best chance they had was, I forgot his name, but former Capitals coach. You both know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I recognize his face. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the Stanley Cup winning coach of the Capitals when he was there on the Islanders. That was their best chance, honestly.
After the moment he left, we knew that was it.
Maybe the Yankees. The Yankees maybe have an argument of winning their championship, but it's like he asked which New York team. They asked just any New York team of any sport. They didn't specify. And he goes, Rangers, because they got the best chance because of the moves they've been making at the trade deadline have been ridiculous and insane, and they are going all in to win.
Yeah,
and
especially with the Patrick Kane trade and the Vladimir Tarasenko.
Two players that were drafted around the same side, like, oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. That does, you didn't remind me of that, Bacon, but we're gonna continue on the NHL for now. And then so for me as a Devils Panthers fan, right? I'm more Panthers over Devils. I do live in Kansas, so I have a little bit of Blues in me. I'm able to have an opinion on that. But if you're going to slander the NHL teams that are in your area, which is the Rangers and Islanders, then what if I went and said, I don't think the Knicks are going to win a championship for another 10 years? How would you feel if I said that? Oh, you're not going to be happy? Well, you didn't make us happy by saying the Rangers do not count and that they don't have the best chance. The Knicks have the least, like they're probably near the bottom of the list next to the Mets.
The team that's more commonly used as the butt of a joke than anything else.
Exactly. Everyone talks about Knicks fans and how funny they are when they lose. Because remember Hawks versus Knicks in the playoffs? I believe it was the year that the Hawks and Bucks played in the conference championship. Remember that series where Trae Young absolutely destroyed the Knicks? That was the best from what I saw. That was the best we saw from Trae Young, and honestly, I was a little Trae Young fan when I was watching him destroy the Knicks. But of course, I'm a Bucks fan, so. But yeah, let me get to my part which is with the Devils. The Devils have a little goaltending problem. as a couple of you may know. We have 4 goaltenders, right? We have Mackenzie Blackwood, Vidic Vanacek, Jonathan Bernier, and Akira Schmid. We also have Nico Dawes in the minors as well. Blackwood and Bernier have been injured. Vanacek has been underperforming. Nico Dawes is really underperforming. So who are you left with? You're left with the Swiss goaltender, Akira Schmid. Now, people shit talk Schmid because he came from all over the place. Like, he was in this league, he was in that league, he was in there, he was there, and worked his ass off to get to the NHL. And he's been proving everyone that he deserves the spot in the NHL. And I can make a case that he should be the starting goaltender for the Devils because of specific things that I've seen Schmid play. He has a 927 in the even though it's a little amount of games played, it's still a 927. Look, so that's in 12 games. 8-4 in 12 games, a 927. Name me a goaltender who came like in recent times besides Binnington. We can't say Binnington because that's kind of a cheat. Name me another goaltender that nobody's ever heard of, nobody's ever seen, that all of a sudden just starts performing. For me, the only one I can think of is Akira Schmid and Jeremy Swayman.
Billy Husso.
Billy Husso.
I was gonna say Husso.
Husso has an argument, I think.
Husso has an argument, yes. Didn't nobody know who Cal Peterson was until he started popping off for the Kings?
I think so.
There's a short list. It's a very small list, but please just give Akira Schmid his credit. He worked his ass off to get here, and he's performing above the expectations that have been set for him. Just give the man his credit where his credit is due, please.
You've got the Devils who've got goaltending issues. The Vegas Golden Knights, oh my God. So many goaltender injuries. My God, there's going to be like,
they're having to resort to Aiden Hill.
They have to
when
pick
the last
out,
time
like,
you heard that name.
After this year, if you've got to start filling out contracts for how many goaltenders you've picked up in trading and everything, and then also your normal starters and everything, it's like, who do we pick? Like,
you got
Devils and Knights are going to have to. Jonathan Quick. You got Jonathan Quick.
You got Jonathan Quick, Logan Thompson, Aiden Hill, and Laurent Brossoit. All outstanding goaltenders.
I think that, hold on.
And also Jerry Patera. You also have Patera, but he's only played a game. Logan Thompson is 20-13. Aiden Hill is 16-7. Laurent Brossoit is only 1-0. Jonathan Quick currently this season is 15-13 with an 88.3. Right? Am I getting
Robin
that right?
Lehner. You got Robin Lehner. Robin Lehner hasn't played this year, but because he was injured.
He hasn't played.
However,
he
hasn't played.
We have named 6 goaltenders.
Yep. And when you come to time of free agency and everything in the offseason, you've got an issue. Same with the Devils. You're going to have issues. You've got all these goaltenders.
We're going to have issues, yeah, but I feel like Bernier being on LTI most of the season, we're probably going to be forced to release him. But I feel like Akira Schmid might be a problem if he asks for a lot. But I think that if we're going to do anything with Vanacek, because trade deadline's over, we can't trade him. So it's either we wait until the draft to trade him for picks, or we just don't sign him in free agency. Because I don't want, because this team is probably better. I'm pretty sure, according to SN Sportsnet, the Devils have better odds than the Rangers. The Bruins, of course, have the highest odds since they. Oh yeah, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the Bruins are the first team this year to clinch a playoff spot. No fucking surprise there. 105 points with 50 wins. You're going to clinch a playoff spot. Like, come on. But yeah, I'm just concerned with both the Vegas situation. The Vegas goaltender situation reminds me of the Raiders quarterback situation. because they went from Derek Carr to I believe Jimmy Garoppolo, both injury prone, practically act like they don't know what they're doing and only have highlights once in a while. Same thing with Vegas goaltenders, injury prone, barely make highlights, barely make big plays, perform pretty mid-tier levels, and they're just not outstanding. I feel like Vegas
Thompson made All-Star, and that's like about it. So
Vegas has a curse, and I think we've realized it by now that Vegas has a curse when it comes to important positions in sports, like goaltender and quarterback, two very important positions in those sports. Well, technically in football, every position is important, especially that offensive line for your quarterback. So, but goalie's very important, and both teams have bad situations. I'm going to, until both teams fix it, I'm just going to call it the Vegas curse, the curse of Vegas. So Jonathan,
they're making the playoffs. I mean, there's no doubt they're making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if they don't stop with these goaltender injuries, they're not going to go far. They ain't got a shot of going to the Cup this year. I'm going to say
exactly.
I know my friend. I know my Vegas friend is going to get angry at me for saying that. But dude, they've got no shot because they with all these injuries and everything like that. There's no way they're going to go. They're having to rely on the lowest string of goaltender at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course we got just the Blues. Just again, the Binnington situation is just it's BS because again people hate him for no reason. The guy has been consistently good in the stats wise. Whether he allows more goals or not, you've also got to look at that defense that's in front of him. You can't just always look at the goaltender and point at him and say he's the problem. Oh, just because he's a pest, just because he's one of the most hated goaltenders in the league, dude. You look at Matthew Tkachuk. Tkachuk's one of the most hated players in the league. The dude produces. He puts it in the
top
net.
Scorer on the Panthers right now.
He puts it
bothers
in the
a lot of
back
my friends.
Stop going like, oh, he's a pest. He must be hated. Ron Hextall was an absolute menace to society when he was playing. Hell, you've got Martin Brodeur who wasn't even clean at all. He was great, but oh my God, the 90s goaltenders, they were all dirty. So why is it because Binnington plays like 90s style goaltender, we have to hate on the guy? I don't get this hate for the Blues and everything. Oh wait, maybe it's because we've missed the playoffs only 9 times, and this will only be the 10th time we've ever missed the playoffs. We've always been a consistently good team, unlike half the other teams in the entire professional level of sports. Actually, we're probably in a small margin of teams that have missed the playoffs and been so consistently good.
When it's often known that when you become good at something, it's very easy to hate on something like that. Like a lot, like for example, Michael Jordan, right? He's regarded as the best player of all time, but he was hated quite a bit too because he was
Brady
good.
too.
When Brady, when Dale Earnhardt, he won practically everything. He was booed viciously.
Dale was hated. Yes,
he was absolutely hated.
So you know what? Go on and keep hating on greatness, everybody, because you know what?
And
will have a Hall of Fame
entire Patriots team was also hated. But now, as 3 of us who live in the Kansas, Missouri area, what is our closest team?
Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. And guess
We're
who's
hated.
being? Yeah, we're really hated. We're becoming the next Patriots, and I don't like it, but that's just people hating on the fact that we're good.
Well, you know what?
I'd say,
you know what?
Try more.
Yeah, but for all the rest of the NFL fans out there, as Travis Kelce would say, you have to fight for your right to party.
What?
Uh-oh. Something
Princeton
happened.
beat Arizona.
Yeah, I just
what?
I put that in the chat right there. They beat them again,
All right,
and I think
that we're going to head into March Madness with that. Princeton has beat Arizona 59-55. What? That's 4 points. A Ivy League school just beat Arizona.
I'm gonna hide behind my nameplate now when we talk about my school.
If this was, oh no, you're not. You get back here.
Get back here.
SEMO. We're gonna talk about SEMO. Okay.
All right. We'll praise them.
We're gonna talk about them from your perspective, especially. So of course, San Diego State beat whoever the hell that is. Oh, Charleston. They beat Charleston. No surprise. Alabama beat Texas A&M CC Islanders. Mizzou beat Utah State. This one's a big one. Furman beat Virginia. And Maryland beat West Virginia. And of course, my Jayhawks, KU, beat Howard 96-68. That one was not close at all.
For the women's bracket, real quick, Mississippi State has made it in, and Sacred Heart Pioneers have made it in. There are only 2 other games, I believe, left in the first 4 that need to get. There are only 2 games left. So it'll be Monmouth versus Tennessee Tech and St. John's, New York versus Purdue.
I honestly want St. John's in, but I also think Purdue's a great team. So I'm pretty sure Purdue's going to make it in.
They will be taking on University of North Carolina. St. John's, New York, and Purdue, if whoever wins, will face UNC. And Monmouth versus Tennessee Tech will go on to face Indiana, whoever wins.
I want Monmouth to get. I want Monmouth to.
Or I think it might be Monmouth. I'm not sure how it's pronounced because I called a game yesterday, a women's lacrosse game, where the town was pronounced Monmouth. I said Monmouth a previous game when I was saying, hey, you're going to want to watch this game on Wednesday, but it's apparently Monmouth. I don't get why it's spelled the way it is, but.
And also, with 2:29 remaining in the second half, Arkansas leads Illinois 62-57.
Ooh.
Come on, Arkansas. That's my pick.
All right. So I want to hear from your perspective as media talks about SEMO a lot. What did you think of your team's performance? Even though it didn't live up to what you wanted it to be. I know it didn't live up to what you wanted it to be, but I want to see what your thoughts were.
All right. I'm proud of the team regardless. I mean, we ended a 23-year-long drought. We won 4 games in 4 days to even get here. And with players like Russell and Harris, they're great players. And ultimately, I look back at this season as a huge win. It's unfortunate that, we don't get to go to the first round. We put up a hell of a fight against Corpus Christi, though. I mean, I was at the game. I got to sit in the first row for a bit, but then we had to move for a different shooting location. But just they came back soaring in the second half, and it's unfortunate we couldn't pull it off. But then again, hey, we don't have to deal with Bama fans, so there's a huge plus there. And I've had a really bad experience with them that I can't mention on this show. But honestly, I mean, when you think of our run, or when I think of the run and how we're covered, I think people forget about us. Like, we're just some small school in Southeast Missouri. No one's ever heard of us. The only time the media has really mentioned us was when our president drank from a beer bong one time, and that made national news. If you haven't seen that video, please look it up. It's really amazing. But I'm proud of the team regardless. I mean, they played a hell of a season. It was highs and lows, and after that OVC title game, I contemplated going to a cardiologist after how that ended. If you don't know how the game ended, basically we were winning the whole game. Tennessee Tech came back and they shot a final second buzzer beater that we thought was a 3, and they were dogpiling and celebrating. But after a review, his foot was on the line and it was a 2, and it had to be settled in overtime. After that game, I mean, that explains this season. There was a lot of highs, lows, and those transitions were so much that some people's hearts probably couldn't handle it, mine included. But I'd say I'm proud of this team regardless. It's sad that we didn't get the win. It's sad that we don't get to go to the first round. But hats off to Corpus Christi. They played a great game. As the women's coach, Coach Peterson says, give credit to your opponent, and I'll do that. They played a good game. But in the meantime, we got a championship banner to go hang up. So that's all I'll say about SEMO. And I got to go to the game. My press pass where's my press pass? It's over there. But yeah, it was an unforgettable season for the Red Hawks.
Overall, state of Missouri having a pretty good year so far for sports overall. I mean, I'm good. I'm proud of this.
Absolutely. How about you in Mizzou? I see that big old Mizzou hat.
We won it today. I'm waiting to see what we do for football still. I mean, it's the issue with football has always been like we put on really great games, but then we find stupid ways to lose. So, but yeah, I mean, just like even now, like we're still on the March Madness stuff, but real quick, the St. Louis Battlehawks, their first home game, 38,310 fans in the dome, selling it out. And of course,
loved that game.
They had to limit the amount. Oh my gosh, the Kroenke chants. Oh my Lord. Yes, I am happy and proud.
Someday I'll get to go to the Battlehawk Stadium and get to chant that with my dad.
That last interception, hell of a catch and hell of a read.
Oh, yeah,
you can't lie on that.
And of course, we're on week 5 now. I think on the topic list we put week 4, but yeah, we're on week 5.
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, so
and I can't believe you forgot I'm a KU fan. Jeez.
Okay. I went to class today, and one of my classmates had an Iowa Hawkeyes jersey, or not jersey, but like a
I hope Auburn
sports jacket.
Yeah, I as someone who had to deal with it after our football loss to them, I hope.
What I want to see happen. I know you guys want to see Iowa Hawkeyes get eliminated as soon as possible. I want to see Iowa State and Iowa go at it, and I want to see Iowa State beat Iowa just to anger Hawkeye fans so bad.
The state will tear itself apart worse than bloody Kansas did during the Civil War.
Oh, don't even. Oh my goodness! But
not bloody Kansas, it's bleeding Kansas. Never mind.
Yeah. As a KU fan, I'm happy with the Jayhawks team as it is right now. We didn't win the Big 12. That was sad. I'm pretty sure we were regular season champions, but we weren't Big 12 champions. I'm proud of the team. I'm proud of what they did. I'm happy for Texas, of course. They ended up winning it all when it comes to the Big 12. But I feel like there's a lot of players on that roster that are just completely overrated. Like Jalen Wilson, 100% overrated. If you go back and watch that game against TCU, look at his points and tell me that is your top player. Please tell me that is a top player. I'd love to see you say that with a good straight face, because the top scorer that day was Grady Dick with 19 points. Jalen Wilson on that day had 7 points with a 27.3 field goal percentage. Tell me that's good. Tell me that as your expectations as a top player, that is good.
For the record, the reason why my school got eliminated is because we were like 40% from free throws, so I don't get any saying in this. So I'll just let you guys go at it.
But you got to make free throws, man. They're free. I mean, my last year of calling basketball, we made a point of that. They are free. They are free for a reason. You've got to make them.
If you are going to, get a little layup, get fouled, and then look at the opposing player and say, and one, and proceed to miss, sit your ass down. Your ass down. But don't get me started on Jayhawks football, though. Oh, Lord. Great start to the season.
Yeah.
Great start to the season, but then dip after we beat Houston. Big dip. We still have yet to beat K-State in football. We have still yet to beat Mizzou in football. Actually, we barely even play Mizzou because of different conferences.
we moved conferences to the SEC because for some reason we thought we were big enough for the SEC, and then all of a sudden, Bama and Georgia became the top football programs in the country, and yet, of course, now the SEC has a tight grasp of college football. So, yeah.
Anyways, that's it for March Madness.
Well, and since we're getting done with March Madness, we'll just touch on this real quick in a second. I haven't looked at Division 2 or Division 3 yet. We kind of need to because I think Division 2 and Division 3 are still as important. But NAIA Final Four teams have been selected, of course, for the College of Idaho. Will be taking on Quay's Arizona, the number 1 versus number 7. Georgetown, Kentucky will be taking on Indiana Tech for the men's semifinals. Those games will be Friday, 5 and 7. National championship will be Saturday at 7 on ESPN3. The women's bracket, two schools that I'm very familiar with, you'll hear here soon. The number 1 Central Methodist from Missouri will be taking on Thomas More of Kentucky, both number 1 seeded. And the number 2 Clark from Iowa will be taking on number 6 Dakota State. I have called games for Central Methodist and Clark, or my school, against those two schools, both representing the Heart of America Athletic Conference. I think they will move on. Those games will be Friday 6 and 8. National championship Saturday at 7 on ESPN3 as well. I think it'll come down to CMU and Clark University, as I think Clark will take this one, as CMU won the Hart tournament. So I think CMU is just more hungry for the national championship. But of course, I'm an NAI guy, so I've got to give my NAI people a shout out. So, but I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, it doesn't matter what level of play you are. You can make it to pros. You just got to be better than everybody. That's it. I mean, so I thought I'd touch on that real quick. Let people know who the Final Four on, because I mean that's kind of important, because somebody on one of these teams is going to probably go pro or something. You never know.
I want to do a little fun fact. After Princeton's upset of Arizona, 0.12% of brackets that remain are perfect.
And I'm not gonna lie. Let me be honest. I did choose Princeton over Arizona as a joke.
Bruh.
As a joke, I did it. My bracket's still good, but I feel like if Auburn does not beat Iowa, my bracket's done. That's what will happen. If Auburn does not beat Iowa, it'll be over for me.
I had Virginia going a little far, so
thanks. So yours got immediately.
Mine got this, but I'm laughing more than I'm upset, because like on the anniversary of them losing to UMBC, they lose to Furham. Was it? Yeah, Furham. That's nuts. That's just nuts. Like
Furman Paladins.
The anniversary of losing to UMBC, they lose again in the first round to a team that they really should have beat. That's absolutely insane to me.
Oh my goodness. Lord have mercy. So, according to Reel, an app I use to track sports, the Furman team has only been tracked 5 times. A game against Penn State, a game against South Carolina, a game against NC State, and a game against UTSC. Or not UTSC, UTC. They lost to Penn State. They beat South Carolina. They got dominated by NC State. They beat UTC. And then their most recent game, the 5th one, they beat Virginia by 1. Wow. And the fact that they're 7th in assists per game got me fucked up. Anyways, this is going to be something that this next topic is something that Ray doesn't really have much knowledge on. It is Saudi Arabia, a circuit that has had a lot of controversy due to safety and a lot of other things. It's preview time. Let's get it going. Jeffrey.
That is what they call me.
What? Your predictions. Like, just, it's not like specific, like, oh, this guy's going to win. This person's going to win. This, like, what do you think is going to happen throughout the weekend?
Can I at least say who I think is going to win?
I say maybe put that in the middle of it.
All right. What do I think is going to happen? I think it's going to be a close race. Of course, someone's probably going to have a really big crash that's going to cost that team a buttload of money. Haas, yeah, definfinitely Haas.
It's going to be Hulkenberg.
Yeah, it's going to be either Hulkenberg or someone from McLaren's going to, or De Vries or whoever. Oscar, yeah, I keep on getting that mixed up. Oscar's going to. I don't know, but I think we're in for a good race. I think this is going to be a good one. I think Alonso's going to go into this race trying to prove that last race wasn't a fluke. I'm here to win, and he's going to probably get another top 5 or maybe even reach that podium again. or maybe, just maybe, he'll win. But I think he's going to get a top 5. I think Sergio's going to win, actually. I'm going to throw a curveball and say Sergio wins this one. Max, today, he's not going to make it to the circuit on time. He has a stomach bug, so he's going to be missing a day. And I think that's going to probably impact him later, or maybe not. I could be completely wrong because let's just face it, the Red Bulls have a powerful machine and there's nothing we can do about it. So, and I'm saying that as a Max fan. So I think Checo's going to win. Alonso's going to get a top 5, specifically P4. And then the Ferraris are going to come back unless, their engine blows up. Then forget everything I said. I think going to be a good race. Here's my little list of predictions, and I'll say Alonso top 5, Checo win. Ferraris are going to be fighting again. There will be a bad crash during qualifying or practice because let's just face it, that's probably going to happen here. But I don't think anything like the whole missile strike thing that happened a while back. I don't know if that's remembered. There's an oil place that had like a strike. It's not going to be on
Aramco.
Huh?
It was actually the official oil sponsor of Formula One, which is Aramco.
But I don't think anything like that's going to happen. But I do think we're in for a good race this year. I think we've learned from the last year's race alone that, hey, let's not mess this up, make this controversial or anything. I know that's what I said was bouncing around, but that's why I could describe it.
Last year's race was almost boycotted due to Mick Schumacher's crash. For those who don't know, it was brutal. Like,
it was
people
really bad.
Thought that he was really hurt, but because of improved safety, thank God that. I mean, shout out to Formula One for making the cars way more safe. Because the fact that we've had in the last 3 years, we've had the Grosjean big crash in Bahrain that he survived, and Schumacher's. Not only did Hamilton survive the fucking tire literally practically touching his head because of the halo, and Mick Schumacher giant crash in qualifying. The fact that all 3 of those
huge crash in Silverstone,
that I believe it was Kopp's corner.
Kopp's.
The fact that all 4 of those drivers survived those crashes tells you that F1 is really on safety. Adding the halo, everyone was complaining about it, but it saves. Oh wait, no, can't forget Zhou Guanyu's crash in Silverstone.
Yeah, where he practically spun around like
literally was on his roof. If the halo did not exist, he would be dead. Same thing with Hamilton, probably Verstappen's crash in Silverstone, and probably Mick's crash in Saudi. But shout out F1, making the sport so much more safe. My predictions for this weekend, I think. Now, I'm not saying this as somebody who loves Canada for everything they do. I think Stroll has taken his time to actually improve as a driver.
Okay.
Because based on what we saw in Bahrain, that's how I'm saying this. Based on what we saw in Bahrain, Stroll is going to have to come into this Grand Prix and prove to everyone that P6 was not a mistake. It wasn't a fluke. He has to prove it. Same thing with Alonso, of course, having to prove that Aston Martin is actually a contender. But it takes 2 to win a Constructors. And I'm going to say it, even though, because you weren't here for the second episode where I was going to give my predictions for the season. I think that if Stroll continues to improve and show the same performance he had in Bahrain, and Alonso continues to, show great style, I think that Aston Martin will finish P2 in the Constructors. Of course, the only reason Alonso got that podium was because of Leclerc engine problems. But still, he would have gotten P4 with passing Sainz and passing Hamilton and Sainz. He still would have gotten P4, though. It just proves to you that testing wasn't a fluke, but Oh my goodness. I'm surprised you didn't talk about this McLaren. Let's just mention this real quick, so we can get back to something that we can get all three members talking. Of course, I don't want Ray to feel left out.
I'm fine. I mean, I have my opinions on the country of Saudi Arabia, especially after some WWE events, and I'd rather just leave it
we're
at
not
that.
gonna get political. Yeah, we're not gonna get political. But I think that honestly, McLaren are going to struggle this season a lot.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
with Piastri being in the team, a new rookie, if I had to pick out of the three new drivers, which is, Arkansas won, three new drivers, which is Nick DeVries, Oscar Piastri, and Logan Sargent, I'm going to say that the driver that will finish ahead of everyone, I'm not saying this as an American, I'm not saying this as bias to America, I'm not saying this as bias to Williams. I love Williams a lot, but I think Logan Sargent's going to top both of them. He has shown overall,
baby.
he has showed better performance than both of those drivers. He finished ahead both of those drivers. He was even 2 positions away from points in his first race. He has the same potential as, let's talk about it, same potential as Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda scored points at his first outing with AlphaTauri, but the only reason that it's getting worse is AlphaTauri is getting worse as a team, which is why which is why Pierre Gasly is no longer a driver there, and he's on Alpine. By the way, great job to Pierre Gasly getting P9 there, and Esteban Ocon, cry a little more. But yeah, Logan Sargent, he's gonna top rookies 100%. That man, Williams has not only done a lot to improve their car and for Logan and Alex, but overall, Logan has worked his ass off. Oscar hasn't driven in a while, we can tell you that, and Nick DeVries is coming out of Formula E. Logan Sargent, though, is coming straight out of Formula 2. Now, compare those three. Oscar Piastri, I don't even know if he raced within that time frame of the whole Alpine fiasco and then signing with McLaren. And then DeVries, he was in Formula E, which is way slower cars by a long shot. And Logan Sargent came directly from Formula 2. I'm just saying, Logan Sargent technically has more experience when it comes to fast with those cars. And if DeVries were to sign with Williams, I would have said DeVries because DeVries was doing amazing in that Williams. But no, they chose Sargent. And I think it was either Sargent. Actually, I think nobody saw Williams signing Sargent. I think nobody saw that coming. Everyone was like, it's going to be either Mick, Danny, or somebody else. But no, it ended up being the man himself from the land of the free
and home of the Whopper.
Stop.
Logan Sargent, who's also, and he's also from, guess where he's from? Fort Lauderdale.
There we go.
Florida which is man. Near Miami, which is neat. And guess which NHL team's there? The Panthers. And he actually went to a Panthers game this season. That was fun. That was fun to see. But yeah, my prediction, I think Aston Martin Williams are going to completely exceed last year from their last year's expectations. Logan Sargent is going to improve as a rookie and top the rookies this season. Nick DeVries is probably going to be second due to McLaren's bad problems with tech. And I'm going to go and say for my top three, I'm going to say pole position. I'm going to say it's probably going to be Leclerc, but he's going to be moved back. Yeah, unless Ferrari's smart with it and they just don't send him out. I think it's going to be Leclerc with pole position, but I think P2 is probably going to be, I'm going to go off on a limb and say P2, Alonso P2. But he's going to finish P3 in the race. P2, I'm going to say Verstappen, of course. Why not? And my pick for the winner of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is going to be Checo Perez. That is my pick. Now, let's get into the topic that's going to probably take the rest of this podcast. NFL free agency.
Oh, Lordy.
He's ready to get into it.
Ray, let's start off.
Floor is yours.
Talking about, let's get you to start off with a couple of things. Just a couple little.
After having probably one of his best seasons, why the hell did we let Juju walk? Good God! That was the word. Like, I didn't even know what happened. And I'm like, okay, I get he's not the greatest, but he had a really good season this year. And the Chiefs proved what they needed to prove. They could do it without Tyreek Hill, and they did it without Tyreek Hill. And I mean, now we've got, and then the other thing about it though is we're letting a lot of people walk that we could have got a lot out of from, trading. We could have got a lot out of Juju if we traded him. If we'd have just had him for a couple more seasons and then traded him, we could have got so much.
Why are you so mad about losing Juju when we also lost Clark and Butker? Butker literally kicked the winning kick. Don't even me.
Yes. However, he was not the greatest this year. That was maybe Butker's worst season, in my opinion.
Better than the Dallas kicker, though. I mean, that was horrible.
Yes. God.
Everyone could say, at least we're not Dallas.
At least we're not Dallas.
Yeah.
Saints and what? Jamal Williams to the Saints? After breaking Barry Sanders' record, you're going to send him to the Saints. How fucking dumb are you, Detroit? I get that you have a great core at defense, but defense isn't going to do shit when he can't score points. Come on, man. You should have kept Jamal Williams. I get that he's weird, I get that he's just a little different, but you need that difference, man. Like, his last interview with the Lions, he was crying. You know why? Because he just broke a franchise record. He broke a record of one of the greats, one of the greatest running backs in the history of the NFL, Barry Sanders. He broke one of Barry Sanders' records. And you're just going to let him walk away to the Saints of all teams. The Saints, by the way.
It's rough. It's really rough.
Are you fucking serious? Thornhill? Oh, I'm fucking. One Thornhill.
Anyway, I'm going to say something very outlandish that I want to happen during free agency.
Let it rip.
Quarterback Chad Henne of the Kansas City Chiefs recently retired, the backup QB for the Kansas City Chiefs. Henne had been pretty solid backup, in my opinion, for the Chiefs for the short time that he was there. There is a quarterback for grabs, though. I think that would make an excellent backup for Patrick Mahomes, a guy that could learn a lot from Patrick Mahomes, and a home state boy that needs to come back home, and that is QB Drew Lock of the Seattle Seahawks. Signed this
hell no!
Hell yes! Unrestricted.
Well, at least he didn't say Paxton Lynch.
Drew Lock. I want Drew Lock home. I want Drew Lock back home in Missouri. I think he would be an excellent backup for Patrick Mahomes. He's built almost the same as Patrick Mahomes, I'm pretty sure. I think that's the most outlandish thing I think I'm going to say this whole thing. But, I mean, I want to see it happen. He would be a perfect backup, in my opinion. Drew Lock was, good God, Denver gave up on him pretty fast and everything. And then Seattle went with Geno. I'd love to see Drew start, but, he was drafted 3rd round. He wasn't really expected to be anything. And gets drafted to Denver and became the starter. And Denver had it rough considering they traded Drew Lock and got absolutely nothing except for Russell Wilson. And that turned out great. Well, the Seahawks are going to the bank of the draft with so much to get out of it. And the Lions are too. They took everything from the Rams, and the Rams had a wonderful season last year. So,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that pickup for the Dolphins. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's just if anything, whoever's going to win this draft, it's most likely going to be Seattle and the Lions taking the draft home this year, considering they did not really have to. The Lions did great, but guess what? Their pick was in the hands of the Rams, and the Rams blew it. And the Broncos blew it, and so the Seahawks are getting a very high pick as well for the first round.
Wait, didn't the Bears trade their fucking first overall pick to the
Panthers?
Panthers?
Don't get me started on that.
You blew your season, right? Oh, Lord, Texans fans must be livid right now. They won the last game of the season, lost the first overall pick, and now the Bears traded that first overall pick, not to them, but to the Panthers.
Oh, what's worse is how much the Panthers gave. Panthers fans have got to be pissed about it.
Oh, that is cool.
What do they go with? What are the Panthers going to take with the first overall pick? What do they need? They got
a lot of offense work to do, mate. Like, they need a quarterback of some sort. They need.
Oh no, don't worry. They have signed Andy Dalton.
Who cares? Nobody cares about Andy Dalton.
You know, the guy with the reddest hair in the league.
Okay, so Dolphins did not only sign Jalen Ramsey, but he's coming back to Florida, Mike White.
Let me correct it. They signed Andy Dalton to a 2-year, $10 million deal.
Ooh. Yikes. Who was he on again? He was on the Saints, right?
Andy Dalton, he was just on the Saints. He was the starting quarterback for Cincinnati for a few years, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, that was the Dalton era, and now it's Burrow. It's not Burrow era. Burrow era.
Dalton was solid with the Bengals, but again, the Bengals weren't trying.
He's not that franchise quarterback. I can tell you that much.
He's not.
He's no franchiser.
There was a TikTok though I seen recently where they were doing that phone handoff thing, whatever. Somebody goes, "I'm gonna hand the phone to the guy with the reddest hair in the league," and they didn't give it to Andy Dalton. I'm like, bruh, you gonna rob my boy like that? He's known as the Red Rifle.
Broward County, stand up. This is a tweet 3 hours ago. Welcome back to South Florida, Mike White. They got a quarterback, which is telling me something about Tua. They're not confident that he's going to play.
Why is he trending?
Who? Tua?
Okay. Alvin Kamara was trending, and it's just, they don't know where he's going to end up. So,
if we pick him up, say goodbye to our cap space.
And who just went to Tampa? Baker. Baker went to Tampa.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield. That I didn't see coming.
He performed okay with the Rams, but let's see if actually he can do any good in Tampa. I mean, let's be real.
He could. That Bucs team is loaded with weapons, and if he doesn't do shit with it, then he should be completely flashed for it. That's my.
But here's the thing, though. I will still consider Baker one of the better quarterbacks out there, considering he won the Browns a playoff game. Do you know how hard that is to pull?
Oh, wait. Here's another quarterback I want to talk about. Skylar Thompson. The Miami Dolphins almost beat the Bills with Skylar Thompson. How do you feel about that? That is, oh my goodness. I was laughing my ass off, and I would have been hysterically laughing if the Bills, oh no, a move just happened and he's not happy about it. But the fact that Skylar Thompson, you probably saw it, Jeff. Did you see how Skylar Thompson played, Jeff?
I may have, but I've been focusing on a lot of other things I may have forgot. So, but you may have to remind me.
Skylar Thompson played insane for the Dolphins. He was awful in the regular season. I'll tell you that much. He couldn't throw a touchdown to save his life. But in that time frame, against the Bills, he was pretty good. I'll tell you that much. Now let's hear the awful news that Ray has to give to us.
The XFL quarterback star PJ Walker has signed with the Chicago Bears.
Who did he play for again?
He played for the Houston Roughnecks, who went undefeated in the XFL. They signed him to Carolina. He became the starter at one point and was actually outperforming.
Oh. His internet went out.
No. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, thank God.
Your internet lagged. Your internet hiccuped.
So you didn't hear anything I said?
No.
No, you cut off that and went outperforming.
He outperformed Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
As a starting QB in South Carolina.
Yeah.
How bad do you have
North
to be
Carolina.
to get outperformed or whatever? It doesn't matter. They represent both Carolinas at this point. It doesn't matter. But
they're terrible anyway.
yeah. But it's the fact that a guy that played in the XFL outperformed two NFL quarterbacks. It's stupid. It's absolute stupidity.
I mean,
now
honestly,
the Bears are going to trust him. The Bears are going to have to at least get him some weapons because I don't know if this will work out. I like PJ Walker. I think PJ Walker will do great. They're probably going to make him QB2, but after how he was doing against Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, at that point, just make him the starter.
Let's just say
he had 1,000 passing yards. He had 57% passing completion percentage. I mean, yeah.
But also Justin Fields. He's not. I feel like. Oh my God! So the Bears were right about Justin Fields. They were right about a quarterback for once. They chose Trubisky over Mahomes. Big mistake. Biggest mistake of their franchise. And they got Justin Fields. He's been pretty good. Got them 3 wins in the season. 3 wins. But honestly, from what I'm looking at right now, with their core, their shitty O-line, and their absolutely atrocious defense, signing a quarterback does you nothing. Nothing at all. You need to sign defenders. Stop signing fucking offense players, please. If you sign an O-line, okay, I understand. You don't need more weapons. Justin Fields has a great bond with all of the receivers on that team, right? And you still decide to sign another quarterback. Okay, getting a decent quarterback to back up Justin Fields just in case he goes down, since Justin Fields is a 2-way quarterback. He can pass and he can run. But if you want to not be as shitty as you were this season, then do me a favor and sign some defensive players. Sign somebody who can crush the pot. Fuck it. Sign a cornerback who can just make interceptions like there's glues on it. There's glue on his gloves. I don't care. Sign at least one person. One this offseason. Just one. And I will be happy that the Bears actually made an attempt to fix their defense. Because their offense is not the problem. It's their defense letting up about 30 points a game. Fucking hell. Jeez, I almost had a Canucks rant.
Chiefs have signed free agent Charles Omenihu from the 49ers for a defensive end. So I think that's a good move for our defensive side of things.
Fair.
Oh Lord, Jacoby Brissett to the Commanders. That's gonna be hell.
Derek Carr did go to the Saints, so we'll see.
Raheem Mostert stays with the Dolphins. Okay.
I'm kind of curious about one team because it's going to be scary to see if they.
Didn't Matt Ryan announce his retirement?
My God, this is 1 hour ago. Colts to sign former Jaguar starting QB Gardner Minshew.
What?
Oh yeah, it's already no. It's not going to. It's happened.
The man himself,
It is official.
Gardner
It is
Minshew.
official.
The reason why
What?
it's named after Gardner
It is
Minshew
official.
because nobody crosses him.
It is official. It is official. Gardner Minshew. Gardner.
He's going where?
Indianapolis, baby.
Let's win the Super Bowl by 50. Listen,
Gardner
when he left
Minshew.
for college, okay, the last thing he told his dad was that he was the man of the house now. That's how good Gardner Minshew is. All right?
Bro, oh my God! This photo that the Blue Stable, it's the little page that follows the Colts used for the Gardner Minshew signing. I'm gonna send it in the Discord group chat,
Please
and y'all
send
can
it. I
have a
wanna
little
see
laugh
it.
at that.
Oh my
I'm
God.
texting my dad this because he didn't know.
Chiefs have
Look
signed
in the
offensive
group chat.
tackle J1 Taylor from Jacksonville.
Bang! Okay, there we go. That's a good signing. All right,
I
look
was
at the
looking to
group
see
chat.
what Jacksonville was doing. That is going to hurt them. That's going to hurt Jacksonville.
Look
Oh
in
my
the group chat.
God.
That is amazing. Matheson scores 16 seconds, 1-0 Habs, and now a goal! It is going to be Colin White tying the game up 1-1. We got NHL games going on.
What is the
right
contract? Hold on. I want to see the Gardner Minshew contract. What have they
now. But
signed
have you looked at the group chat?
on Discord? Yep.
Beautiful picture, man. It's
That
a
is
beautiful picture.
great.
It's art.
Dude, Jacksonville's got to get it. Okay, they've signed cornerback
According
Tavon
to him-
Campbell.
According to this, former Eagles quarterback Gardner Minshew has agreed to a 1-year, $3.5 million deal with the Indianapolis Colts.
That's now you've got me curious. What
The
have
Colts
Eagles
are
done
expected
so far?
to the Colts are expected to release veteran quarterback Nick Foles.
Foles? The underdog?
Yeah, he's still in the league.
Huh.
And now people are telling the Colts to go get Stetson Bennett from the Bulldogs.
Oh no! Now I'm curious. Have they done it? Have the Commanders-
Minshew is officially.
No. Are they going with somebody else? Are they going to sign somebody? Oh, they did. Brissett did sign. Okay, so they're not. They're done with the. I lost track of that. Sorry, but yeah, they're done with the.
I wish they kept Heineke. Honestly, he did pretty well.
Yes,
He did
but
better than
however, we got to
expected.
try the Carson Wentz program.
Fuck Wentz. Okay.
Wentz is done. He's if he gets signed to another team, I'm gonna chuck something.
I
guy
pray
had like
for whoever gets
one good
Stetson Bennett.
season. He only had like one good season, and I was writing off of like an Eagles season or whatever. And
Imagine this: Georgia Bulldogs, won the national championship. I believe back to
Yeah.
back, right? They won back to back.
Yeah, with a 25-year-old quarterback.
With Stetson Bennett.
Sure.
And imagine this: you win the national championship for your state twice, and then you go to your state's NFL team. Imagine if the Falcons got him. Imagine how Georgia, like people from Georgia, would feel that their quarterback from their college team just went to their NFL team. But that's probably not going to happen because Carolina.
Imagine if Mizzou actually beat Georgia in football.
Bro.
It almost happened. It almost happened. It was the final score of the game this year was 26-22. It was like it was just came down to
But
last
imagine
year.
if KU beat Imagine if KU beat Arkansas. Let's just.
Oh man, that'd be fun. It'd be a field day.
Oh my
I could
God.
I could laugh at Razorbacks fan just. You lost to the Jayhawks.
So I just got a text
I
about
noticed,
the
that you love my little laugh. Oh, it's Cole Turner's birthday today. Commander's tight end Cole Turner. It is his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Turner! Yay!
No!
Go.
No! Damn it! Seahawks are going to keep him. They're looking to keep Drew Lock.
Drew Lock.
Seahawks have agreed to terms with QB Drew Lock on a 1-year deal worth $4 million. God damn, they're paying him.
Oh
Minshew,
my God! Oh Lord!
Minshew didn't
So
sign with the Colts.
here's
The
a
Colts
name.
signed with Minshew.
Here's a name that us Chiefs fans haven't heard in a hot minute. Kareem Hunt.
I'm just now seeing that there's a tweet here saying top free agents offense. It needs a little
The
updating.
Cincinnati Bengals and Buffalo Bills are rivals currently in our playoff rivals. Have been named the best fit for free agent Kareem Hunt after day 3 of NFL free agency.
But do you want that PR mess?
Do you? I mean, the fucking Browns went with Deshaun Watson. Do you think the teams care anymore?
I don't think the Browns care anymore.
I can tell you the Browns don't care. They picked up Deshaun Watson.
Let's be real here, though. Have the Browns ever cared?
Hell no.
Nope.
Their fans have, but has the organization ever cared?
Oh,
Hell
let's go!
no. Ezekiel Elliott now a free agent after getting cut by
Didn't
the Dallas
Giants-
Cowboys.
So I believe Darius Slay has been picked up by the Giants, right?
I think so.
That's a good pickup, honestly. Yep, Drew Lock stays with the Seahawks. Sad. Very sad. No, Darius Slayton went to the Giants.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. So, free agency for the Colts so far from Barstool Indy. Largest ever contract for a kicker in free agency. Let Bobby... Okay. Oh, yeah, they did let Bobby walk. And traded Stephon Gilmore for a 5th rounder. Here is the Tennessee Titans free agency so far. They acquired Aziz Al-Shair, Arden Key, Andre Dillard, Daniel Brunskill, and Luke Gifford. Lost David Long, Nate Davis, DeMarcus Walker. Ooh, that's a big one. That's a big loss. Robert Woods, Zach Cunningham, Ben Jones, and Taylor Lewan.
do they go with a different quarterback this year?
The Titans?
Yes. Do they try for another quarterback?
In the
Because let's
free
be real.
agency, No.
Let's be real
I'm
here.
thinking
Has
no.
their current quarterback situation worked out?
Not so far, no.
They got to the playoffs and they beat the Patriots, but that's about it. Because then they would get smacked the fuck down by the Kansas City Chiefs. And that was just a warm up, as before then, and then afterwards we would just go smack down Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. I mean, run out of fireworks. But I mean,
Yeah,
just
the only thing
the free agency all around. Odell Beckham Jr. Is he still up for grabs?
OBJ? I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no. I do not want that. From Sports Illustrated, Odell Beckham Jr. positive discussion with Cowboys.
Oh God.
Do you know how annoying Cowboys fans would get? Oh, it's
we
definitely our year this year.
We're
They'll
Chiefs
still find a
fans,
way
so
to
we
fuck
know.
it up. They'll still find a way.
Dude,
I'll tell you
okay.
how.
I'm
I'll
going
tell
to
you
say
how.
this now.
Their
Dak
QB.
Prescott is not it.
He's not it.
He's just not it. He's overpaid. I'm telling you that much. He's very overpaid. If I were to name like quarterbacks like that was in this last playoffs,
How long was he? Hold on. How long was he injured for? He was injured for like 4 weeks, 2 weeks.
He was
week?
injured for the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season, and the
He still had a
Cowboys were doing
higher
pretty
interception. He
good.
still threw more interceptions than any other QB.
Oh yeah. There's another quarterback on the Cowboys. We remember how well he did.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush. I would rather, as a if I were like the coach of the Cowboys, I would start Cooper Rush over Dak Prescott. Cowboys fans, fucking cry about it. Dak is overpaid and overrated as hell. Same thing with Mac Jones and Daniel Jones.
You brought
They're
up the
both-
coach.
All three of those quarterbacks are overrated, especially Daniel Jones of the Giants.
So, just a quick callback to I talked about CMU and Clark of the women's basketball NAIA championship representing the Heart of America Athletic Conference. Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy went to Baker University, also a school of the Heart of America Athletic Conference. So their coach came from an NAIA school.
So okay,
So
I am. That's funny though.
it is. It is.
Apparently,
He actually played football too, I'm pretty sure beforehand.
the
But
Canadian. Oh my god.
now
I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
oh,
So
boy.
if you guys don't know, Sam Montembeau used to be a Panther. He was claimed off waivers by the Canadians. He's been on the Canadians and has been one of the goaltenders for the Canadians for a while. Montembeau has let up both goaltenders have let up 5 combined goals in 6 minutes and 4 seconds, with Forsing scoring 3-2. And 3 minutes ago, from Jameson Coop on Twitter at Jameson Coop, Allen coming into the game for Montembeau. I hope that Canadians fans have a field day because the Panthers are about to light him up. I'm telling you that. As soon as you put Allen into the game, it's over for you. Because Allen has been underperforming like a motherfucker. He is awful now. And as they fucking say it, Habs tie. Okay, I'm gonna shut my mouth.
Yes. So question: what is Lamar Jackson going to do?
He's gonna resign
He's
with
clearly-
he's gonna resign with the Ravens.
Really, you think he's gonna go back after the
I think
shit
he's gonna
they put him through? And
I don't care. I think that the Ravens need a franchise quarterback, and that's gonna have to be Jackson. There's nobody they're gonna pick up anybody that's better. Who brought the Ravens back into even the talk of the playoffs? Who did it? It was Jackson, right? Lamar Jackson brought the Ravens back into the playoff talks.
yep,
He single-handedly took the Ravens from one of the most overrated, oversaturated teams to one of the most underrated, but still oversaturated teams. I think that if the Ravens want even still a shot at the playoffs, they need to, of course, rest Lamar for a little bit, let him fully heal. Don't play him injured because then you're just going to fucking make the same mistake over and over, and then he will leave. But let him rest. Let him have his time off. Play him like an actual quarterback, and you will be fine. Ravens, re-sign Jackson. If you don't, say goodbye to your season because you're not going to get anything better than Jackson. Honestly, Jackson is your best bet at the moment. Because it's either that or you try and get an XFL quarterback. Like that's pretty much it. You try and get a former XFL quarterback because you can't get one that's currently playing in the XFL. I can tell you that much. Well, technically you could because the season doesn't start until when? I don't even remember.
my God, Chiefs are losing a lot.
Yeah, we've lost a lot.
Browns agreed to terms with safety Juwan Thornhill for 3-year deal.
I literally just talked about that.
Oh my God, I'm just like I'm looking at everything while you all are talking, and it's like I keep missing things. But Jesus Christ, so much going on. My head. I guess should we end it with talking about Aaron Rodgers?
Oh my God! Hold on.
I think that's
We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers after I talk about this JJ Watt tweet.
Oh,
So JJ Watt posted a little photo of him playing beer league, wearing his NFL number 99.
Yeah.
Stephen L. Miller said any dude wearing 99 in beer league is just asking to get dropped. JJ Watt comes back with the cold response. Come Come drop me then. Let's see how that goes. I showed up to the rink, and the NHL guys that invited me to play with them had a bag of gear for me with this helmet in it. I didn't choose it. You gonna drop them too?
Oh, I remember talking about this where like JJ Watt wanted to play like hockey early in his years.
Yeah, I remember when all that was
Could you imagine if he went pro in hockey?
He would.
Oh my
He would
God.
lead the league in hits. He would be a way bigger hitter.
He would
be
kill
the
somebody.
tight end.
The bro would be
He-
like
he
the
probably
tight
is.
end in hockey. Like
Ooh.
Radko Gudas last year led the NHL in hits. He had over 800. Now imagine if JJ Watt was a defense. He would be a defender, no doubt. There's no way he would,
Absolutely.
with his big body, he would be forward.
Panthers taking you.
Slap shots from the red line.
Oh my God! Imagine how fast his clap bomb would be. Oh my God! And you're right. Ekblad did just take it, and it hasn't even been halfway through the first period.
Like
4-3.
goals already.
Yeah, imagine JJ Watt's slap shot.
That would probably destroy goalie gear. Like,
That
Absolutely.
would probably break Zdeno Chara's slap shot, no doubt.
There's Al
know,
McInnes was scary. JJ Watt is terrifying. If you've heard the stories of Al McInnes,
No, he's not terrifying. He is a nightmare.
Yeah, that's actually a lot better. He's a nightmare if he played hockey, and he's playing beer league hockey.
That's even worse because the rules are like, ooh, there's barely any rules.
All right. So should we go? Yeah, Aaron Rodgers,
we're gonna
and
end
then
it
can
off
we
here.
talk a little bit about World Baseball Classic before we go? Because
Oh
Yeah,
hell
yeah.
no! Hell no! I
Injury.
hate it! I don't want to talk about it. I am embarrassed to be in the United States, man. I'm embarrassed. Okay. In the
why?
last few
Yeah, we're
years with
winning.
with the world, like with that tournament in the last few years, we have sucked. We're good this year, yeah, but just looking at the past, I am embarrassed to call myself a United States fan.
We're
But
gonna
I'll still
smack
cheer
down
on.
Venezuela. We're gonna smack down Cuba, and we're gonna smack down.
We're
whoever
not
goes
going
to
to
the
smack down
championship.
Cuba.
We're
We're
winning
winning the whole
thing.
thing this year. Arenado, Mike Trout.
American heroes. Put them on Mount Rushmore.
Shh. If we're going to
Can we talk about though how many Cardinals are on this team though?
Oh boy,
the
Wayno,
Cardinals are going to be a
Goldschmidt.
scary team this year
Nolan.
again. I hope Adam Wainwright goes out right this year. I wanted better for Yachty and Albert, but it didn't happen. I want Wayno to go out way better than they did, at least. Wayno has been with us for so long and has been consistently good on the mound. He needs to go.
Oh
Did I cut out again?
yeah. You said he needs to go, and then it cut out.
Uh-oh.
Well, I think let's go ahead and get into the talk with. Oh well, there he goes.
Oh, well, there. Okay.
Let's get into with Rogers then. Let's get with Rogers.
All right. Holy cow. What are you wanting here, Rogers?
I want to say like the whole Panthers made it 5-3. But I'd say like the whole build up to him picking his side reminded me a lot about the whole LeBron James the decision thing. Where everyone's hyping up where he's going to go, and then he goes on national television and says, "I'm going to take my talent to South Florida." And then Aaron Rodgers, it was like that, but instead it's like a tweet I saw where he's in a basement, underground, no light, probably smoking crack, deciding, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go play with the Jets." Here's the question: why? Like, why the Jets? Like,
Because he's so done with this awful Packers organization
Yeah.
that has not granted him his wishes. You have had a consistently good quarterback who could win you so many Super Bowls, but you won't take out a little bit of money and give it to receivers he needs. Instead, you constantly get receivers, tight ends, and other offensive weapons that nobody has ever heard of.
I'm back. Sorry, my internet kind of just shat the bed.
We were just going to town on the Packers, but like, building off what you said, I mean, like I remember seeing highlights of last year where Rodgers just bombs the ball down the field, and all the player needs to do is to just catch it, and it will be on Sports Center. But no, he just drops it right out of his hands, and you can see the frustration with Rodgers, and that makes me think, dude, if
the
that
only
to be
thing
like
he had was Cobb. Cobb was the only thing he had all season long. He wants Cobb on the Jets.
Don't shit talk Curtis Lazard. Come on, Curtis Lazard was actually one of the only good receivers on that team. Curtis Lazard literally was one of the best receivers for the Packers that year, and was practically the only receiver on that damn team. He was the only one catching balls at that point.
Well, I think that's the other one Rodgers was requesting for the Jets is get Lazard. But now you've got the Packers who might sabotage the trade overall by, requesting a first. I would not give a first for Aaron Rodgers because who knows how long he's got left in him. He could go win a Super Bowl this year and retire.
Honestly, I would bet more. Okay, this is going a little bit too far.
But I would rather take a random-ass quarterback who nobody knows from the University of New Mexico than take Rodgers for a first. I know that's maybe pushing it a little bit, but still, honestly.
Here's the thing the Packers have got to realize. If you're asking for a first and he proceeds to go win with the Jets, do you realize how low of a pick you get? You're not getting anything good with the 30th overall pick because nothing ever really comes good out of the 30th overall pick besides maybe a decent enough player, but you ain't getting a Hall of Fame player. Trust me.
100%, man. Like, the Packers need to realize this. And
I'm not shooting shots at like Tom Grossi. He's a great guy, honestly. I'm not shooting shots at like Packers fans at all. I'm just saying your team is a fucking embarrassment, especially if the Jets. Okay, here's my thing. It's not if the Jets make the Super Bowl. It's if the Jets place higher than the Packers next season. That's when you could say that the Packers are an embarrassment. I get that they want to try and rely on Jordan Love. I get it. But I think that the fact that you gave him like a quarter of play last season, you really think he's going to come into this season with confidence? Can you tell me with a straight face that Jordan Love's going to come into this season with confidence? No. So tell me, Packers fans, tell me, do you really think that you're going to do better than the Jets this upcoming season? Tell me with a straight face that the Jets, who now have Aaron Rodgers and finally a decent offensive core and an outstanding defense led by Sauce Gardner, tell me, do you think you're going to have a better record than them? And do you think you're going to actually make the playoffs? Tell me that yes, with a straight face, please. I would love to hear it. And I want to hear your explanation. It's like when you're on a test and they tell you to show your work. Show your work on how the Packers are actually going to make the playoffs. Because in my opinion, they are not going to at all. I think that I would have a better bet on the Commanders making the playoffs than having the Packers make the playoffs. And that is just truth. Honestly. I'm not gonna go off on you like I did with the Canucks, okay? But I'm saying if you do not beat the Jets and the Commanders especially, but the Jets more, if you don't beat the Jets, you need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, my team is a fucking embarrassment. That is the truth. Period. The fucking end.
And you'll know you've hit rock bottom, Packers fans, when your team will finally lose to Chicago, probably.
Oh my God. If you
lose to Chicago, it's done. You hit rock bottom. It's rebuild. It's time to just... It's going to be years of misery.
Guaranteed.
You're gonna be listening to that one Imagine Dragons song for like on repeat, just being like, "Oh Lord, we've done it."
You're seeing them try to recreate what the Seahawks did to Denver. The Jets ain't gonna fall for this. They're not. The Jets will probably succeed with Rodgers, unlike what the Broncos did with Russell.
Broncos country, let's die.
You know, I loved how everyone was like, "Oh, the AFC West is going to get dominated by the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Raiders." No, Patrick Mahomes is still king of this bitch.
They kept all the receipts.
Burrowhead who?
Win.
Oh, we kept every receipt.
The Chiefs aren't even going to make the playoffs. They're going to get blown out in the first round if they get it, if they're lucky to make it. And then they all get pissed off when Travis Kelce goes on national television after winning the Super Bowl and roasting them and calling them out. And they have the audacity to be upset about it. Like, I'm sorry. If you're
we got
back
receipts.
Yeah,
and here's the thing. I saw somebody. Shout out to the HB. How about those Chiefs on Twitter? I believe I'm actually going to shout out his ad. I believe it's HBT Chiefs on Twitter. Shout out to him because he called out a specific person who talked about who doubted you, and he provided literal multiple pages of evidence of analysts, sportscasters, and multiple people doubting the Chiefs. Even in the preseason predictions, in the record predictions, we all know that segment that everyone dreads at the beginning of the season because you know they're all gonna be wrong. They still doubted the Chiefs in that little segment. So yes, people doubted us. Who didn't doubt us? People with a brain didn't doubt us. That's who didn't doubt us. People who are smart look at the depth of the Chiefs and say, that's a Super Bowl winning team. That's a Super Bowl champion team. I feel like the biggest argument against that is not Mahomes or Kelce. It was what we did to improve our defense to be able to win a Super Bowl, right? And
the other thing we did was we got a bunch of receivers that it wasn't like we were going to only throw it to Tyreek Hill. No, we had options. Now you don't know who to cover.
We got McKinnon.
We bamboozled the defenses. And then, of course, you still got Travis Kelce. You could yell at the defense and go, hey, we're going to throw it to Kelce. You still couldn't stop him.
Let me just say, from wide receiver, running back, tight end, here's what the Chiefs have or had in that season. We had Juju Smith-Schuster, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney. We also had Travis Kelce, McKinnon. I don't remember his first name, honestly. I believe we also had Robinson still. We still had Robinson. And then we also who do we also have? I forgot his name. But it was that one tight end that came in for like a few plays during the playoffs. He played really. Oh my fucking god! What the hell is this first period I am looking at for fucking
7-3?
Panthers Canadians 7-3. Oh lord.
All in the first period. Let's go.
Pacheco. You also got Isaiah Pacheco, Marcus Van de Scantling, and it was Noah Gray was the guy I was thinking about. You got McKinnon. You also got Justin Watson as receiver. You have all these players on the team. You also had Tommy Townsend, outstanding kicker, and Harrison Butker. We don't talk about those misses, though. You had Harrison Butker as well, great kicker, a Pro Bowl kicker as well until the Chiefs made the Super Bowl. Then he was no longer a Pro Bowl kicker because a person who's going to the Super Bowl can't play in the Pro Bowl. But here's my thing. With the new Pro Bowl format, let them play. Because this is just ridiculous. Flag football isn't the same. It's not warming up. It's not the same. Let those players play in the Pro Bowl if they get selected. Did you just see a new move, Ray?
I've just noticed something.
Blink twice if it's a dumb move.
Sam Darnold's gone to the 49ers. They sign Andy Dalton. They're drafting a fucking quarterback? Damn.
Who?
Panthers, you had it.
Panthers are
they're gonna draft a quarterback because
it's gonna be Stetson.
Way.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be Stetson.
There's no way you're gonna sign Andy Dalton to that ridiculous contract. You're gonna have him as your starter for maybe a year, so the one you draft can develop for a couple years. Good God, Panthers. And why the fucking 49ers signing Sam Darnold? I get your quarterback that's now going to be the starter. Brock is not going to be able to play due to Tommy John surgery. But good God, really? Sam Darnold?
By the way, let's just talk about Brock Purdy. Literally was Mr. Irrelevant in the draft. He was the last
Iowa
pick in the draft.
State.
Mr. Irrelevant. And this is why I love to shit on Iowa, the college Iowa. There's a reason I love the shit on the Hawkeyes. The state had a Mr. Irrelevant, but it wasn't an Iowa. It wasn't a Hawkeyes quarterback. It was an Iowa State quarterback. And that Mr. Irrelevant, I'm pretty sure when Brock Purdy got drafted, Iowa Hawkeye fans were like, yes, they got Mr. Irrelevant. Let's go. And then Brock Purdy ended up being an insane prospect. I can just imagine the face change of just like, yeah, they got Mr. Irrelevant. We're not irrelevant. We didn't get Mr. Irrelevant too. Oh, Lord, this guy's actually really good. We need to just shut up. Like, imagine the face change. But still, honestly, love Brock Purdy. I hope that he gets better. And I hope that even when he returns from surgery, he will still, because I'm pretty sure he has to get surgery done on it. And I hope that when he returns, he will still be the same Brock that we saw. And honestly, I think that Brock Purdy is going to probably win the 49ers the Super Bowl. If Mahomes gets injured somehow, right? If Mahomes gets injured, we have to rely on a backup. Honestly, even if we have to rely on a backup, we're probably going to.
That's the thing we got to look out for, us Chiefs fans, is who the fuck is our backup going to be? Because
let's look at the Chiefs depth chart.
It was Chad Henne, and Chad Henne's retired, so
we're required to have 3.
When did this break?
So according to, of course, Shane Buechele will be our backup.
No idea who that is.
He has no stats in the NFL.
Oh, no.
No stats at all in the CFL. I don't even know why this is on his profile. His football stats was with, guess who? SMU.
All right.
He was an SMU quarterback. Imagine being a Mustangs quarterback. Ooh.
Well, I think we've gone up for quite a while.
He's probably gonna stay, honestly. But he was born in January. Wow.
What else we got to talk about, boys?
I think NASCAR. I forgot. Fucking A.
Oh,
I almost forgot about NASCAR. So yeah, William Byron. Oh my God.
Oh man, you just went off. Back-to-back wins.
Back-to-back wins. He could honestly be a contender for the championship this season. He's got the skill. He got the skill probably because Chase Elliott was out, honestly. Okay, I'm going to say this now, Jeffrey and Ray. I'm going to say this. I think that James Davison should have got the seat. Honestly, if you don't know who James Davison is, he's an Australian driver who drives stock car. I was hoping he got the seat, but no, he didn't. And I was so sad that we didn't have like an Aussie guy. Like, he had a Daniel Ricciardo type of vibe to him. And I was like, I want this guy to drive the 9. Please. I want Danny Rick energy back in sports. Oh, yeah, we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on a little something later. 2 specific Formula 1 drivers. I don't know if Jeffrey Long heard the news. I probably broke it to him. And he was like, wait, what? Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and say it before we get into the rest of it. Jenson Button
and Kimi
Oh,
Räikkönen
yeah.
will be racing at the Circuit of the Americas. 2 Formula One legends will be racing at the Circuit of the Americas. I say good luck to them, and I hope they have a great time in the NASCAR Cup Series, because it's in the Cup Series. They're racing in the Cup Series. Good luck to them. But Byron's been popping off. Honestly, Bowman's been improving a lot. Hendricks is back to domination as usual. The Ford is falling off a lot. Toyota is actually pretty good. Kyle Busch is doing way better at I believe he's with Roush Fenway, right?
I think so. I think he is.
Roush Fenway, right? And yeah, he's been playing insane, honestly. Props to him. And I'm happy with how this season is going so far. As somebody who was a Jimmy Johnson fan since a little boy, I was a 48 fan since I was a kid. Been a Hendricks and then became a Hendricks fan overall because I loved everybody at Hendricks. All right, my favorite lineup honestly had to be even though he underperformed like a bitch, it had to be the one with Busch in it. I'm sorry. That number Busch driving the number 5 for Hendricks, I loved it, honestly. I was like, oh, and then I realized that he was one of the most hated drivers because he was good.
As I said at the beginning of the episode, when you're good, people hate you.
And I think Kyle Busch gets a lot of undeserved hate. I get that he's a little bit of a bitch, but he's not.
He's a bit of a hothead.
He's no Ty Gibbs. He's no Ty Gibbs who literally crashes his teammate for the win. Won the Xfinity Series because of, guess what? His grandfather giving him the best car on the fucking grid. At least he's no Ty Gibbs, right? And at least he's no, I'm sorry to say this, I'm sorry, Hamlin fans, but Hamlin's just a dick. As Hendrick fans, remember Martinsville. We remember what he did to Elliott, and remember the satisfactory cheers for Elliott and boos for Hamlin. We were satisfied with that. And then he got even more fucking upset. Like, I think he's just made enemies with Hendrick at this point. He was a big baby when Bowman won and crashed him out. We did the same thing that Hamlin did to Elliott, and he got mad. So, Hamlin fans, complain as much as you want. Say, oh, Bowman's not a good driver. Look at the previous races and tell me Bowman's not a good driver now. Tell me he doesn't deserve the seat. Tell me. I dare you. And especially Kyle Larson shutting everybody up about the controversy of people saying, "Oh, Kyle Larson shouldn't be driving," because remember he lost the seat for the 42 after the whole controversy on Twitter, and then he came back first season with Hendricks, and oh my god, won the championship for Hendrick. I was so happy to see that. But this season's lineup: Byron, Bowman, Elliott, and the good old Larson might just be my favorite Hendrick lineup now. Because they're all outstanding drivers. I feel like Hendrick's like Red Bull. You know, everyone hates them, but the people who love the team love them because we're good. Hendricks has great cars. Gibbs has good cars. I hate to say it, but Ty Gibbs has performed up to expectations, but I'd love to see what happens later in the season. Oh, the media.
Well, as someone who is also a Jimmy Johnson fan since a little boy, I am also happy to share that Jimmy Johnson also said he's going to race at Circuit of the Americas.
Yep,
and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to see what he'll do there.
I'm looking forward to just Coda in general. Great. I'm looking forward to Coda in general because I'm pretty sure Allmendinger is racing there as well. He's going to be racing.
It's going to be a great race regardless. I like to see what Jimmy is going to be doing because, I'm a bigger fan of IndyCar, but how they race more road courses than they do ovals. But or road courses, street circuits, you get the point. Basically, they turn right more times. But with Jimmy Johnson coming fresh off of that, he's going to take that and he's going to see, okay, Circuit of the Americas, there's going to be some left turns. maybe he can take what he learned from IndyCar and use it there. But then again, that goes against my point about him in IndyCar. So I might as well just shut the hell up. But the point is, I'm looking forward to see what Jimmy Johnson can do at COTA. I think he'll do great, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, but this is still road course though, and there's
Yeah.
one man
And then
to look out for on them road courses, and that's that beautiful number 9.
that beautiful number 9 of Chase Elliott. But there are going to be 3. I know that Jenson Button is going to have a lot of expectations. Same with Kimi Räikkönen, Jimmy Johnson. But I'm going to say I don't think they're going to do amazing. I think Jimmy Johnson could get a top 10 finish. I think Kimi Räikkönen could get in that top 15. But I feel like I believe with the team, I don't remember what team Jenson Button's going to be driving for, but I'm pretty sure it was a team I've never heard of, and it's not going to be good. I'm telling you that. It's not going to be a great outing for him. And I think Jenson Button might get a technical issue, and like there's still technical issues in NASCAR. It's not as techy as Formula One, but there could still be a gearbox issue, etc., all that stuff, because they still got switches in there. And if one thing breaks, then another thing breaks, then another thing breaks, then the entire fucking car breaks. I think Jenson Button's gonna have a little bit of car trouble because he's probably never even touched a stock car a day in his fucking life. Oh my god! So Jeffrey, remember that seat swap with Jimmy Johnson and Fernando Alonso?
I remember that.
I would love to see after Fernando Alonso retires for the final time from Formula One. I would love to see him back in NASCAR because he had fun.
Oh yeah, he loved it. He had a good time.
And Jimmy Johnson, of course, loved the Formula One car. 31, Iowa 26. Yes. Fuck Iowa. Fuck you all guys.
Yeah, I remember both drivers were talking about how it was fun. And I was thinking, well, Jimmy Johnson would eventually go on to race in IndyCar for a little short stint. And he got to do that. But now here he is back in, NASCAR doing a part-time thing. But I'd like to see Alonso do it because why the hell not?
Imagine if he did it in the 48 as well. Like Bowman was hurt or something. He wouldn't return for COTA. And he just came in and dominated. If Fernando Alonso won a NASCAR race, I would not be shocked. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't.
Drivers to watch out for on that circuit, in my opinion, it's going to be Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, Allmendinger. Honestly, AJ Allmendinger. He's a great driver. He's performed well. I think Kimi Räikkönen's going to do great. Jimmy Johnson as well. I think with how Byron's performing, he might do good. Honestly, he might do good. He might do pretty good.
Agreed.
Bubba Wallace ain't something to go home about, so I'm not ain't something to like rant about. So I'm not gonna say Bubba Wallace is one to watch. Honestly, I think he's kind of overrated, but still love Bubba's personality. He still got a great personality. He's the Danny Rick of NASCAR. But I think. It's kind of obvious to say that Hendricks is kind of one to watch for, but of course that's just because they're a great team. But of course I've named 7 drivers. One I said one's not to run home about. But the last driver I would say to watch out for is possibly, and most people might not agree with me when I say this, I think Daniel Suarez is one to watch for. That 99 does great on road courses. We've seen it in the past. We saw it at the Indy road course before he got completely decimated by the curb. He was doing well. We saw it at the Daytona road course. He was doing well. I think Daniel Suarez, most people might not agree with me when I say this, but I think Daniel Suarez could be in contention for a good amount of position today. Well, today at COTA. But what's the next race for NASCAR again?
When I could have sworn. Is it not this weekend?
It is the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 at Atlanta. COTA isn't until the week after.
Yeah.
So next
really
week,
did okay,
or
Joey.
this week will be Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Of course, we've heard about the sad the penalties. We've heard about them, but us little fans of Hendrick are gonna be happy to hear this one. Hamlin got a penalty
Oh yeah, he did. Yikes.
for intentional contact with Ross Chastain. I guess he was a little bit thinking, what happened?
I had to quickly grab something, keep going.
But I think he was just a little bit unhappy about last year. But you don't have to be that salty to punt off Ross Chastain. Come on, Hamlin. There's a reason why you're somehow, some way becoming more hated than Kyle fucking Busch. You're somehow managing to do that. Congratulations.
Yeah, Denny's gone off the cliff.
Yeah.
How do you go from winning back-to-back Daytonas to being a jackass?
I mean, that's kind of... Oh, that is fucking sick. Okay, so guess who's bringing back their classic number for the All-Star race, making me want to actually watch the NASCAR All-Star race for once.
Uh-oh.
No,
Kevin Harvick is bringing back the 29.
There we go.
That's something I would want to watch the All-Star race for. Kevin Harvick driving his original number is sick. Ooh, how many points was Denny Hamlin docked for that? So, $50,000 fine and docking Hamlin 25 points. That's actually pretty big for this early in the season. I won't be making an appeal to NASCAR. However, I will be making an appeal to the people. I'll see you next Monday. That was a tweet that Hamlin made. Oh, yeah. NASCAR. Who was it? Beyond the Flag. Great source for NASCAR, honestly. Denny Hamlin might have just dug himself into a hole. And that's really what we just talked about. He has dug himself into a hole. And Hamlin admitted that it wasn't a mistake. He did it on purpose. I'm going to say this, and I think people might not agree with me, but I don't give a shit. Hamlin does not deserve to drive for Gibbs anymore. He's become too toxic. He's become too stuck up. He's become too much of an asshole and has dug himself into his own grave. Seriously. He's acting like more of a child than Ty Gibbs. He's crying about all this bullshit. Just fucking... I'm going to say it, Denny Hamlin fans, cry about it. Denny Hamlin does not deserve that Gibbs seat. I don't care if he's a 2-time Daytona fucking winner. I don't care if he's made the playoffs multiple times. Has he even won a championship?
No, but he's come so close, only for wild things to happen.
Even then, nobody cares about the championship. Let's be real.
In the past, Denny Hamlin was one of the favorite drivers. He was loved. Everyone loved him, but he's dug himself a hole. Honestly, with how big of a hole he's digging himself, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Gibbs just says, "I've had enough," and removes him from his seat. I wouldn't be surprised if we heard that.
I wouldn't be surprised either. No.
So, at Atlanta, who do you think could win Atlanta? Who's been great in Atlanta at the past?
Oh God, I couldn't even tell you. I'm trying to think.
What the fuck?
Someone's banging on my door, and I'm trying to record a podcast, and I don't see the little sign on the door.
Who do I think will win at Atlanta? Despite all the shit we were talking about Hamlin, a part of me thinks he's gonna do it. I don't know.
Want him to win, honestly.
I don't want him to win, but he probably will.
So this is the whole Hendrick situation. NASCAR severely penalized Hendrick Motorsports on Tuesday for issues with the hood louvers that was discovered on all 4 Hendrick cars last weekend. The NASCAR docked Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, and William Byron 100 points and penalized them 10 playoff points. Suspended crew chiefs Cliff Daniels, Alan Gustafson, Rudy Fugel, and Blake Harris 4 races each. NASCAR also fined each $100,000, and NASCAR penalized each of the 4 Hendrick team 100 owner points and 10 playoff points. But so they docked Larson, Byron, and Bowman, right?
Yeah.
Because Elliott hasn't driven, they can't dock him anything. Elliott has no points to give.
Yeah, like literally, like none.
But Hendrick, you just kind of fucked your chances at winning, honestly.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
It's the biggest recorded penalty in NASCAR history.
It's horrible. I mean, like, this is bringing me back to like seeing people get penalized heavily for things like Spingate and stuff like that. All those years.
Oh
ago.
yeah, Clint Boyer.
That whole thing was so fun to watch.
I was laughing when I actually originally saw that spin.
If he would have like done a better job of hiding it during the post-race interview and put on his acting face and just, oh, I spun out and all that, no, it probably wouldn't have happened. But nope.
What did he say again? I forgot.
When how it was intentional that he would spin out, or that he did the spin out, but he had to basically put on his acting face in a post-race interview with one of the on-site reporters and basically play it off like, oh yeah, I messed up, I spun out the car. But no, he didn't do a good enough job. And they're like, wait a second, he's bullshitting us.
Didn't he say like he something itched?
I think so. I think that was the sign that the spotter or the whatever it is in NASCAR gave it to the driver. Like, hey, it's getting hot in there. I bet your arm itches, huh? And then he spun it. Yeah.
So last season, the winner of Atlanta was William Byron. Of course.
Oh,
I
could see him do it again.
Yeah, let's see him do it again. Get 3. If he got 3 in a row, he could just. That's the biggest like flip off to the fucking officials in NASCAR. Ryan Blaney won in 2021. Blaney's honestly a great driver. Love him. I actually kind of like him. We don't talk about 2020 though.
No.
And everyone knows why we don't talk about 2020. One thing that if I say the word, this entire episode's gone. So I'm not going to say it. I had Ray worried there for a second. But any ending remarks from you two?
No.
Binnington will have a Hall of Fame career. Y'all can shut up and leave the man alone.
Bennington lives rent-free.
Tell me I'm wrong. The guy won a Stanley Cup in his rookie season, and he's still got plenty of time to win.
Won
more.
16 games in the regular season.
We've got
not regular season, post game
overall picks. We're gonna win. We're gonna go right back to the playoffs. We are consistently a playoff team. We've only missed 10 playoffs in our franchise history. This will be the 10th year. Even then, we still probably have a shot to come out make it in.
I think my favorite part about that 2019 Stanley Cup win was the fact you beat the team that beat you twice in the finals.
And they built a statue of one of their players beating us.
Yeah, and you're just like, shut
Now,
the fuck up.
There may have been a missed call in Game 6, but
I agree.
Game 7 at home to win, and you failed.
They didn't show up.
Shut up, Boston.
Marchand goes to the bench for whatever reason.
He did.
Just like how Toronto complains that they lost to the Kings because of a missed high sticking call, but you had Game 7 at home to beat the Kings, and you failed.
Toronto.
Yeah, this was a while ago.
Oh yeah,
This
that
was
was
like-
like
this
that
was- this
a
was in the
long time.
90s.
That was Gretzky.
The Gretzky era.
That was Gretzky.
It was the Gretzky era, yeah.
The man who should have been in the penalty box for that penalty scores that goal. And yeah, Leafs fans just become depressed to the point where the ref that was in the game, he's still alive today. Leafs fans just refuse to talk to him. Like they refuse to acknowledge this man exists. I'm being dead serious. It's literally like it's like an adult version of the silent treatment. This man is going through
Talk to the hand. Talk to the hand.
literally.
So
You
for
screwed us
closing
in the
remarks,
90s. Screw you.
so for closing remarks, Binnington will have a Hall of Fame career, no doubt about it.
Binnington rent free in the head.
Green Bay's washed.
Toronto loses in the first round.
Glory to Minshew.
100%.
Glory to Minshew. Yep. All right. St. Louis will return to the Dome this weekend, and NASCAR will be an all right weekend. I think we'll have a great weekend, everybody.
Oh wait, Battlehawks. We forgot XFL.
We are facing DC in St. Louis this time, and the last time we faced DC, holy cow.
Great game, honestly. Even though we lost, I'm still saying great game.
Oh, yeah,
And
it was a great game.
The fight was excellent way to cap it off. And Jordan Tamu
honestly,
for the first time returning to St. Louis. It's going to be a great weekend.
I'm going to open XFL.com, look at the schedule. There's a game tonight.
We'll close
It's
with
Houston,
this. Yeah, we'll close
Seattle.
with this. Yep.
It's Houston, Seattle, 10:30 Eastern. We already know who's going to win that. It's going to be Houston. It's going to be Seattle, of course, totally, 100%. I'm not saying that sarcastically. And next up, Sunday, it will be. It is week 5. It's going to be DC Defenders versus St. Louis Battlehawks. I'm taking Battlehawks as a Battlehawks fan. Caw is fucking law, by motherfuckers.
And we're in the
Caw
dome.
is law, and we're in the dome. All right.
If they add extra tickets to sell the dome, dome's gonna get sold out again. We could probably fill the dome. Just sell every seat.
Like if you look at every other XFL team, and you look at their stands, right? DC has
it's
it's
not
decent.
close. It's
Orlando, Vegas, Arlington, San Antonio, Seattle, and Houston stands were never filled. DC was the first stadium to have a decently filled stadium, but the thing they're playing on the DC United Field.
But DC has an insane fan base. Let's be real.
Yeah, the fucking
beer snake. The beer snake.
Beer snake is amazing. It's beautiful.
But the Blues is caw is the law. It's really there are only 3 teams that returned, and those 3 teams, well, 4, but one of them changed a town. Arlington and Dallas. It's the same goddamn thing. But yeah, it's St. Louis. And DC
I guess they just wanted to. I guess they just want to separate themselves from the Cowboys.
Anyways,
I wouldn't blame them. Anyways,
Orlando plays Vegas. I think we already know that Orlando's going to win. That Vegas just fucking sucks ass. And I think Arlington. I'm going to be honest. People might not like this. I think San Antonio wins that. People might not agree with me, but I don't give a shit. I think San Antonio wins that.
I won't argue that.
Because they destroyed Orlando, which Orlando's a bad team, honestly. But they kept it close with Houston. They kept it pretty fucking close. But that loss to the Dragons, we don't talk about. But I'm gonna say it. I think we all agree with this as Battlehawks fans. Cause fucking law. We're going to beat DC this weekend. You all, everyone listening to this, have a great day, night, evening, whatever time of the day it is there. And we will see you all in episode 4. From me to Ray to Jeffrey Long, we love you all.
Use code GRILLED at Glitch Energy for a 10% off your order. Please use that. That's really cool.
And also, don't forget, we're also sponsored by Anchor FM. Make a podcast just from your phone. You all have a great evening. And gentlemen, you all have a great night. All right? See ya.